The stars don't question how they shine. The moon still glows without a sign. The sun still burns, it takes its place.
Hi everyone, welcome to the Yin-Yang Love episode. So today I have this special guest. Her name is Manda Stack. And she's somebody that I really respect because she has gone through her own inner fire and came out the other side. Because when we were talking about transformation, a lot of times it's all on the outside. You don't see anything, but what's going on inside, there's a lot. So I have such a pleasure and honor to invite her to share about her inner journey with us. And before I do that, I'm going to honor her bio. Is it okay? And okay, so Manda Stack is a former pastor of 23 years, turned certified energy clearing practitioner and intuitive transformation coach. And she helps thoughtful midlife women who feel caught between safety and soul reconnect with their inner wisdom, clear what's been keeping them stuck, and begin creating a new chapter that actually fits who they are. So I've been looking forward to this, Manda. Welcome.
Thank you, Jen. So good to be here with you and all the listeners in the community. I'm excited about this conversation.
Yeah, such a beautiful opportunity to connect with you. And right off the bat, I would love to ask you on this path of faith, let's just call it the path of faith, with your background, with all the service, the purpose that you have offering to life for the past 20 plus years, what actually led you to who you are today? This is one thing I think many people would love to understand what feels challenging when it comes to the inner transformation. When we have to face ourselves when we are feeling that inner battle within us, because something you believe so truly within, but somehow when time passed, all of a sudden there's this undescribable feeling that you want to break through, like, oh, am I playing too small of what I am trying to become? What was that feel like living inside you? Because we have our inner and outer reality. And I would love for you to share what was it like for you when you were on the path of, yeah, helping so many people, servicing as a pastor. But what was that calling pulling you forward? What was that tension? Would you like to share a little bit more?
Yes, thank you. Great question. And it brings me back to one Sunday in particular. I'll
Yeah.
start with how I experienced it. At that point, it was about 22 years I had been a pastor.
Mm.
And there was one Sunday that I will never forget where I had done everything that I had done every Sunday before that. I had led the service and offered the prayers, greeted everyone after the service. And then when I got in my car to drive home afterwards, I burst into tears. And I knew that this was a sign that, okay, nothing was wrong on the outside. Like it looked, not business as usual on the outside, but inside, I had this growing desire for change, for doing something different in my life for a while leading up to that day in the car. And the tears were about just this big realization that hit me that it wasn't fair to the community that I served or to myself that I was feeling such an internal disconnection that had kind of grown over time.
Right.
That I was just going through the motions, and that was not fair to them or to me. And so that moment was a turning point, like, okay, this is a sign. I can't just keep, going through the motions. Like I need to make some outward changes. And I was really up against some fears and doubts about that.
Wow. While you're speaking about this, I definitely resonate this deeply because I've gone through my own stuff for the past 10 plus years. And a lot of times, we try so hard to kind of like suppress or push down those pain that we feel that we know there's something bigger or higher or something just more aligned calling us. But there's also that inner struggle of, gosh, I feel okay here. Like it's not like I can't live by. I actually am okay. So trying to convince ourselves of staying where we are is actually okay. And then so a lot of times I remember when I was supporting some of my clients also, and also while looking at my past self, I'm like, gosh, I told myself a lot of things to override my inner feeling because that feeling was so intense and there's a lot of unknown in there. It's better to logicalize it so it makes sense to myself, not to say to the outside world. So, what are some of the things that you think the women that you're supporting, especially the midlife women, what are some of the things that, or the common ways they tend to override their, let's say, inner knowing because we're all intuitive inside? Yeah.
Yeah, it's such a common experience for women like ourselves to
Mm.
make do because we're often so focused on the people around us, um, making everyone else comfortable, being the good girl. That was one of my one of my shadow sides that I had to
Yeah.
contend with. Like, yeah, so very common. And over time, it can, how it often shows up, I call it like an inner restlessness, kind of like what you
Mm.
described, like trying to, like, logically, mentally, my life looks good. Well, I have nothing to complain about, but something inside, just over time, it grows more and more like, like sending signals like it's time to examine this, get curious about what this restlessness or discontent is. And even that can be scary. So
Yeah.
for me, I know that just the step of getting honest with myself was
Mm.
probably the first and biggest piece
Mm.
of my own transformation. Just acknowledging it, like, here I am crying in my car. I have this identity I've built, this role that I loved. It had such deep meaning for me for many years. How in the world I thought I was going to be a pastor for the rest of, the rest of my life, right? And so it was kind of disorienting and
Yeah.
scary to think that, okay, so now what if it's not this? And that's a question a lot
Right.
of midlife women arrive at.
Aha.
And and that is where I love to support and guide. And I wish I had had someone at that point
Yeah,
who
totally.
really could help me with that.
Yeah. I would love to have someone support me back then. But I totally remember, some of the times when I overrode like my own intuition, because I'm a very, you know, highly sensitive person. I'm very intuitive. At the same time, there's a lot of times I feel, oh my gosh, those generational kind of conditioning passing down to me, like, you should be grateful for what you have. And then that was like my internal projection into my own desire, wanting to just outgrow my past self was like, oh my gosh, that's so scary. If I am going after that, I feel greedy even. I feel greedy that I am not grateful for what I have. So can you
Yeah,
relate to that?
I can very much. I think a
Mm.
lot of us can relate to that. The pressure to be grateful. And yes, the great gratitude and a desire to do something different or make a change can coexist. They are absolutely allowed to coexist. And so I think that's one of the first things I would reassure
Mm,
anyone listening to this who are having some similar thoughts and questions, that you can absolutely love your life, be grateful for it, and feel like it's not quite fitting you anymore. That's a really
exactly.
potent place to be.
Yeah, wouldn't it be great? Like we already have given ourselves the permission to explore because we want, all we want, or most of us, we want certainty. Give me certainty so I feel safe enough before I even take that leap of faith. Yeah. And then
And
also because when I talk to a lot of high achieving women out there, there's another part of them. They feel the strong need to kind of push down their feelings because it's not logical enough, it's not reasonable to also listen to something that's not being practical. And then so they fill up all their schedules, calendars is full, making sure they're very, 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 very busy.
yeah,
And
yeah.
that's another part that I find is interesting that a lot of high achieving women do.
Another very, yes, common way of coping. Um, and I want to speak to what you said about certainty,
Yes.
because, and in our intuition,
Mm,
um, fear, when we're feeling fear, what fear really wants is certainty. Like, what thing, if it's uncertain, fear is looking for, well, what's certain so it can feel safe again. But intuition, I've found for myself and for the women I work with, is is more it's a quieter, calmer type of sense that thrives in in some spaces,
yes.
and it's more comfortable with uncertainty. It's more comfortable with some
Mm,
open-ended questions. And so when we do overbook ourselves or overschedule ourselves, we're crowding out some opportunity to hear that still small inner knowing and pause and consider what wisdom there is there for us.
so beautiful. And I think we just weren't encouraged enough, like most of us, we weren't encouraged enough to listen to the subtlety of that inner voice. And instead, the voice here is so loud, so, so, so loud, right? So I'm wondering, Amanda, so one thing in your journey, when you're opening your new chapter, entering that uncertainty, that's not, you have to leave, what's behind you, but yet what's in front of you is also unclear. It's blurry, right? So how did you
Yeah.
navigate that while being able to tell the difference? Oh, you know what? This is from my fear, and fear is trying to hold me back, versus, oh, you know what? This is actually my intuition is trying to get my attention. Can you share a little bit more about that?
Yes, and you speak so well to that, because the fear, I love how you said the fear wants to hold us back.
Mm,
And, thank you, fear, for wanting to keep us safe, right? And, I navigated it. I learned over time. It was kind of like building some muscles along the way. It didn't come naturally or easy like so many women, to get much better at trusting my inner knowing, my inner compass. And, people have different ways of perceiving and tapping into their intuition, their inner knowing. So, for me, it was a quiet, like I call it a little zing, like, oh, there's a zing. It's like a little forward opening sensation where something was right for me to explore. And if it was something that really wasn't for me, it would feel more like a closed, downward, shutting down feeling. So
yeah.
I learned, like, physically, my body has
Mm,
become a good
instrument.
antenna or
Yeah.
instrument.
Yeah.
Um, and so that is my personal way of, getting more comfortable with my own intuition. So I knew even when I was a pastor, I wanted, like, I've always been very sensitive to energy.
Mm,
I didn't have a language for it for many years.
hmm
So even when I was a pastor, I would take classes in energy work,
Oh,
and
you
I
did?
got
Wow.
I got certified in it because I wanted to learn how to understand it for myself and not feel so bombarded by the energies around me.
Mm,
And as I started learning about it, I really saw what benefit it was to, and that's when I got the little glimmer of like, oh, I'd like to do something like this on my own, and kind of shift out of the pastor work.
yes.
And so, I used my intuition to sign up for various courses and classes that felt aligned, and it was a fun, enjoyable journey that opened me
Yeah.
up. And so, yeah,
Little flow.
I learned how to do that.
Wow. Okay, so one more question that just popped up right now is that I think a lot of women who are in the transition phase, they want to explore more, but there's a hidden fear that they deal with is what if, the people around me are not okay with what I choose? And what if they don't support me? Oh, I'll feel abandoned. And those are real feelings, yeah, pretty valid. So
Yes,
how would
mhm.
you guide people who are afraid of, moving forward because the outer environment doesn't seem supportive enough of their decision?
That's huge. And I know for me, that was probably the top of my list of my own fears. What will people think? What will everyone think? And
Yeah.
what I've come to see in my own life is that I like to call those people, those voices, the invisible committee. Not that they're not important people in our lives, but very often, even our loved ones,
Mm,
sisters, parents, people who love us, they see us in a certain way. And when we start wanting to make some changes, they have a certain invested interest in us kind of staying the same because when one person in a relationship changes, that means some adjustment on for the other.
yes,
So
yes.
absolutely, it's natural that might kind of cause a little bit of instability. So just knowing that, like, it could rock the boat a little bit, and that's okay. And I underst like what I experienced was that my fears about what everyone else was going to think and say, most of them were in my own mind. By and
Hmm.
large, people were very supportive, inspired even. And I even heard from a number of women like, oh, like, you're, I'm kind of inspired to make some changes because what I see you doing.
Yes.
So, yeah, so, not to discount, some of these primary relationships
Mm,
that,
mm.
we may need to negotiate or have some conversations with them. But very often they loom a bit large in our own minds. So just know that those listening, if you're making some changes in your life that are more aligned for you, you may well be inspiring other people who are watching.
Yeah, totally. So by any chance, if anyone who's watching right now, if you're making that internal decision, but yet the outer decision is still kind of like, push and pull. Here is what I want to ask you next, Menda, is let's say someone who came to you and really want to receive support from you, but at the same time, they also have this internal struggle of, I know I'm shifting, but I can pinpoint what is that I really want because probably that person is not taught or given herself permission to say what I want is this, right? So I don't have courage to even move forward because I don't even know what I want. I just know something is shifting. I'm not okay with how I'm feeling right now. Then what would you say to her?
Oh my gosh, you named probably the one of the cruxes of the issues here is so many of us, are not allowed, like we feel like we don't have permission to really explore what we truly want.
Mm,
So it's a very common experience for us. Like
mm,
we're so used to, again, making sure everyone else around us is comfortable or fulfilling our responsibilities and
yes.
obligations.
Yes.
And then there's not much left for us. Like, oh, you know,
Mm, mm,
what do I want? So it's common to not know exactly what, what we want. And I found that there's a very simple journaling exercise, if I could share it, and it might help
yes.
for some
Oh my
people.
gosh, please. Yes.
Yes, this was really helpful for me too. And it's called Be, Do, and Have. Be, do,
Be,
and have.
do, and have. Okay.
And you write those words at the top of a journal in
Mm,
columns, and then you brainstorm, what do I want to do? What do I want to be? What do I want to have? And brainstorming means you don't edit yourself. You don't jump in and say, well, I could never have that. Scratch that off the list.
yeah.
Brainstorming is this is for your eyes only. This is your soul given a chance to share, from the depths of you, what you want to be, do, and have. Be,
Mm,
maybe I want to be happy. Um, I want to be more grateful. Um, I want to be a whatever. And
yeah.
then do is a little more action oriented. I want
Hmm.
to travel here. I want to start a business. And have is I want to have, and that could be I want to have peace, or it could be a material thing. Like I want to have a car that runs better, like even something like that. And once you are more comfortable getting that out on paper and see
Yeah.
it,
Mm.
that's giving yourself some permission to explore what those are. And again, not to edit or cross them off, but just to see what's there.
You know what? I really love this so much because so many of us, we are trained to use our brain or the mental capacity way more than like, oh, what do you mean by tuning in and listen to your intuition, right? So, so what you just share is such a simple but yet practical way to invite us to say, okay, how about, honoring your even if the secret guilt of, oh, I want to explore something that's way out of my tension, but I still want to honor it and really put it down on paper and you see it visually, right? And then do taking that action that gives you even more power. Like, actually, I can do this, even the small little steps, right?
Yeah.
And then have is to connect with the material desire too. How do you want to materialize it? So I think that would make the brain to become our friend rather than an enemy, probably.
Yes. Yes. And I love how you frame that. And getting it out on paper, actually up and out of us,
Yes.
sends a signal to the universe like,
Mm,
okay, this is what I'm playing with and exploring. And I found that when you do this journaling exercise, sometimes surprising opportunities show up that, energetically you've
yes. Yes.
stirred some energy and put it out there. And so the universe is like, or the divine, or however you call it, is like, oh, you want that? Okay, let's kind of work with you and partner with you in this.
It's literally a process of co-creation and also cultivating our self-trust. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Because after all, I mean, we got infinite chances of decision making. And how are we going to allow ourselves to lean towards what feels more aligned rather than, oh my gosh, in order to avoid the possibility of danger of uncertainty, I'm going to stop here. Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, I admire your work, Manda, so much, so much. And I'm sensitive and aware about time right now. So I would love for you to share. How could people find you? Your amazing work and your beautiful energy, of course.
Oh, thank you so much,
Yeah.
Jen. Yes, this has been a great conversation. You can find me on my website,
Yes.
mandastack.com. And I know that we have
Mm,
a free resource that we'll share with your
thank you.
audience. And yes, so that is called Seven Signs You're Ready to Step into What's Next. And it's a workbook for you to do some of
Awesome.
this journaling and inner reflection about the things that we've been talking about today. Like
Mm,
when you're kind of feeling this restlessness, not sure exactly what's what's coming or where you want to go. If there's uncertainty, this guide will help you get a little more clear and maybe even start taking some steps forward as you explore that. So I absolutely invite you, if this conversation has sparked something in the listeners, go ahead and download Seven Signs You're Ready to
yeah,
step into what's next.
exactly. So for anyone, you can already feel into Menda's. She's super sincere. I think that the word sincere just fits her so beautifully. She's super sincere and genuine and so devoted to helping women, even if you might be entering your midlife stage, especially we go through a lot in our midlife chapter as
Yeah.
women. And it's hard. It's hard. So if you can feel her sincerity and also energy of being able to hold that sacred space for you, reach out to her, reach out to Amanda. She's always there to support. Yeah. And then, yes, and download her beautiful workbook. I'm gonna put the link up there. Yes. And then reach out to her, check out her website. She has amazing, by the way, newsletter. So sign up.
Yes, yeah, you feel
Yeah.
free to sign up that you can get on my weekly newsletter through the website there.
Yes. All right, people. So at the end, we invite you to once again, we pause, slow down and pause, allowing ourselves to feel whatever the feeling is trying to communicate with you. Let it be there and trust that you know anything that you need to know will come and emerge in the right time. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much, Amanda.
I am the sun, I am the moon, I am the night, I am the noon, I am the shadow, I am the light, I am the day, and I am the night. The stars don't question how they shine. The moon still glows without a sign. The sun still burns, it takes its place. I am made of the same